Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another Clear the Cart vlog. So we're gonna go over the 5 books I plan on reading during this vlog over the next week or so, and then I'll tell you which one I'm starting with. The last arc I need to read for 2025 is Something Wicked by Falon Ballard. I really don't know much about this, so I will talk about it once I start reading it. I also have The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. This is the second book in the Truly Devious series. Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson, her newest release, her adult debut release. I picked this up. It was the $5 book at Barnes & Noble. This was not originally on my Clear the Cart list, but I did want to read it since I picked it up for the $5 at the cafe. It is Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie Cicatelli-Cook. I think this is going to be a very quick read. It is a very short book and it has got like very few words on a page. So I just wanted to read it as a fun little fall book. Probably I'm going to aim to read this around Thanksgiving. No idea what it's about. It looks like a fall romance. And then I'm going to be starting with Fredrik Backman's Us Against You. This is the second book in the Beartown trilogy. So I will be starting here and possibly starting another one at the same time once I finish the other Kindle book that I'm reading for another vlog. But for this one, the first update will be on this book, and once I have one, I'll come back and talk about where I am. Okay, so update. I'm about 40% of the way through Us Against You, and I didn't know like where this was gonna go because obviously like Beartown probably could have stood on its own without sequel books, but this does pick up directly after Beartown, and you're kind of seeing the town deal with like the events of Beartown and like where to go from here. And there's like another local town too that is involved in this as well. They were also involved in Beartown, so I think that that's where a lot of this is going to take. This looks to be taking more of a political view on like the town and like funding and that kind of stuff. So this is probably going to be a little more on the political side than I was maybe expecting it to be. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. You're seeing a lot of the fallout of the stuff that happened in the first book with people and with the towns and everything. And so far, like I said, enjoying it, but it does take me a little bit longer to get through his books just because like literary fictions sometimes don't hold my attention as well as like a fantasy or a romance does, or a thriller. So it's why it's taken me a bit of time. I also went to the hockey game last night, so I didn't have a lot of time to read yesterday, but it is now the weekend. So I'm hoping I can finish this up between today and tomorrow. And I also did start The Vanishing Stair at the gym, and this is a YA thriller, second book in a original trilogy, but there are some like books that come after that on the Truly Devious series. And so it's been a very quick read so far. I got to jump right back in. Again, it picked up right after the events of Truly Devious, but that storyline is still going on. That wasn't really completely concluded at the end of Truly Devious. And I love this because the main character is actually, like, the book doesn't take place in Pittsburgh, but the main character is from Pittsburgh, so it's kind of fun to hear her talk about that. But yeah, so far we've kind of got ourselves involved in another mystery within the mystery that is already going on. So these books are just very entertaining. They're very quick reads. They're enjoyable. So I'm going to continue reading these two today. I have a lot of stuff to do, so I don't know how far I'm going to get with like trying to prep for Bookmas and everything. So we'll see, but that's where I am right now, and I'll update more later today, hopefully. Okay, I have an update. I've literally just been reading and avoiding all responsibilities for like the past day, but I just finished up Us Against You, which is the second book in the Beartown trilogy, just now, and this is another 5-star. And I mentioned earlier in an update that like these books take me a while to get through just because like they're not my typical reads. They're not something I can just sit down and like binge through. However, they are beautifully written, and like it's just that the content is heavy. You're seeing the best in humanity, but you're also seeing the worst in humanity in these books, and it's just difficult content to get through at times. So that is why it takes me a little bit longer to get through it, but I can't say too much about the storyline of this book because it follows the first one and like the fallout of what happened in the first book, and it's just all continuing to happen. I'm very interested to see what the winners is going to be. I'm assuming it's just going to be more of this, but he kind of concludes all of the stories at the end of each of the books, so I'm not sure exactly where we're going with the next one, and that one's like almost 700 pages long, so I'm not sure what that one's going to entail, or 600 pages long maybe. But yeah, I'm going to give myself like a week or so to kind of get through the emotions from this one. I was crying during this one just because this had, I think, more tragedy in it even than the first, than Beartown, and it was just shocking and sad. So we'll see what the winners comes up with. I'm gonna try to read that probably at the beginning of December, but we'll see. So yeah, 5-star read. I am still reading The Vanishing Stair. The Hand on the Wall is the last book. I'm on page 300, and so that means I have like 60 some pages left. So I do think I'll finish this today. So when I'm done with this, I will come back and tell you what book I'm going to go into next. But yeah, I do have to do things today though, so I've got to stop avoiding all of my responsibilities and get some stuff done and work on getting through this, and then I'll update. I have an update. I finished The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson, and I really enjoyed this. I think that this series is just a fun, good time. If you want to try a thriller, but maybe adult thrillers are a little too scary, like, highly recommend YA. Maureen Johnson, Holly Jackson, Karen M. McManus. Like, they're some of my favorite authors because I know I can pick their books up. Are they going to be 5-star reads? Probably not, but they're still going to be a good time. They're still going to be a nice, quick, fun, interesting storyline, and I love that. And that's what this was. This picked up right after Truly Devious and continued our main character, Stevie, trying to solve that crime and that mystery, and that is what she does. So I'm interested to see what the third book is. The Hand on the Wall, I believe is what that's called. I'm interested to see where that storyline goes. There's still some things that could be like tied up, I think, but for the most part, I think they did a good job in this book of concluding more of that mystery. Again, there's still things that are open. So I do like that it's not this happens in each book. Like, it is still one conclusive, like, timeline of events with one storyline. So you're not just making up a new mystery every book. So if you understand what I'm saying with that. So that's done. Speaking of Holly Jackson, the next book I'm going to read is Not Quite Dead Yet, and this is her adult debut. Very excited to try this. I have not really heard anybody's thoughts on it, but it is basically about a woman. I think, did it say her name was Jet? Yeah. A girl who is attacked, and after the attack is like at the hospital, and they're like, you basically have like something wrong with her brain that is going to kill her within like 7 days. So yeah, so she has an injury that will trigger a deadly aneurysm within the week. So she has to now try to solve her own murder before she dies. So the concept of this is so cool. Like, I'm hoping something happens and maybe she doesn't die, but I don't know. Like, if that's the premise, then I guess I'm going to go into it expecting that's going to happen, which I hate because, like, don't make me attached to a character just to kill them. But we'll see. Again, I haven't heard anybody really talk about this, but I have heard people, like, say they want to read it or say they were going to read it. I just don't know that I've seen any reviews. So very excited to give her adult debut a go because I read all of her other books, and I will update when I have more to say about this. Okay, so I wanted to do a quick update before I finish Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. Holding it the wrong way. I have about 80-ish pages left, and the absolute emotional turmoil I am going to go through in these next 80 pages I am not looking forward to, and I was not expecting that in this book, but I just have a feeling this is going to be a very emotional ending, and so I've thoroughly enjoyed this book so far. The storyline is fast-paced, and I think the whole aspect of, like, her trying to solve her own murder before she dies is absolutely inspired and adds such an emotional level to this that I was not expecting. Like, I was not expecting to feel the things that I'm feeling while reading this book. And the story that she's built within that is just going to make this ending shocking and probably quite devastating if she ends it in the way that it is alluded to. So we'll see, but I have the final 80 pages, and there's just so many great characters in this book and the way that the story's been set up. And I thought I knew it. I thought I was like, this is so obvious. Like, it's definitely going to be this person. They've been laying the groundwork for it. Like, she's just been hinting at it enough. No. Because that person now has an alibi. So that's where I am with that. I have also started reading Something Wicked by Fallon Ballard, and this is a fantasy romance, I believe, but probably going to be heavier on the romance. But it is about this girl named Catherine who has like magic. She's part of the Gifted. So she has these magical powers, for lack of a better word. When she has intercourse with somebody, she's able to like tie into their emotions and like help make them not feel things as strongly as maybe they would. I don't really know how else to describe that. But yeah, that's essentially what her power is. And there's a bunch of different powers within the Gifted community, and she lives in what is essentially a brothel, and this is where people come to like experience the gifts of the Gifted and also other things. So that is where she lives, and then we are also following this prince whose name is escaping me. I will remember it the next time. He is like a prince, but like the monarchy in the kingdoms, because there's a bunch of different, I think there were 4 kings, the monarchy is done. So, but he still is like the son of one of the kings. And the government has decided that in order to be eligible to be elected next president, you have to kill one of the monarchs. So like essentially he would have to kill his father. And obviously he doesn't want to do that. So there's a lot of like emotional turmoil and stuff, and he's like carrying a lot of heavy things with him. So his sister is trying to intervene and get him to go to the Gifted people to get help with his emotions and like dealing with this and all of that. So that is how that's gonna tie in, obviously. And that's all I really know. That's the setup of the book. I don't know how much more can be said based on what happens in the future, but I'm pretty sure that is all what is shared in the synopsis for the most part. And yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. It's been a pretty quick read. I'm about 25% of the way through. I'm going to try to read a little bit more of that tonight. I don't know that I'm going to finish this tonight. I want to try to get as close as possible to it, but we'll just see how devastating she ends up making this. But if I do end up finishing this tonight or finishing it first thing in the morning, I may start Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie Cicatelli-Cook tomorrow at work during my lunch period. I'm hoping this is a quick read just because like the words are pretty big and it's like double spaced. So yeah, hopefully it's just a fun, fluffy fall romance to end the blog. And yeah, I will update tomorrow with where I'm at. I will be finished with this at that point. I just don't know where I'll be with the other 2 books. So talk to you then. Okay, update. And I'm sitting in front of my tree because A, I'm about to film a Bookmas video, and B, I finally put something on my tree, so I thought we would sit in front of it for this. But I finished Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson this morning, and this is by far my favorite book by her yet. So good. The twist at the end, like, I did not see coming. Like, she tied things together so well and just kind of, like, hit you with a few surprises at the end. And the emotion factor in this book was unmatched in the books that she has written so far. She made me feel so strongly for these characters, and I was just shocked at how much I did. So, 4.25 stars, probably my highest rated book by her. Should be if it's not, but, like, that rating feels right. But I loved this. I cannot believe the feelings I had reading a mystery thriller. Cannot believe them. So, highly recommend this. This is, in my opinion, better than the murder series the podcast serial killer series. What was that called? Yeah, I can't remember. I'm blanking. But the original trilogy that she's really well known for, this was much better. This is an adult book though, so it is very different. There is swearing. There's no like spice content, but there is definitely like adult language. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Don't know why I couldn't think of that. It's been a week. It is the holiday season. I am confused and tired. I have started Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie Cicatelli-Cook. I started this before work today. I'm already like 50% of the way through. In an hour, I will have this finished, which is good because I did not know looking at this cover or reading the back of the book that these people were in high school. And I do not usually like YA romance, like straight YA romance. This is very cute. It's definitely It's definitely written like a YA novel. It's definitely like a little mature, like the things that she's thinking and saying, and just the writing style overall is definitely for a YA crowd. So that makes it easy for me to get through. It is cute though. It's about this girl that lives in this small town that is known for like people coming to do like leaf peeping and stuff, and they do fall festivals and all of that. And her mother owns this little coffee shop in town, that's like, obviously their well-being, like, you know, that's, words are hard. That's where their money comes from. Like, that is what keeps them going. It is just her and her mom. And this new kid comes to town. And at first she's like, he's kind of cute, but like, this popular girl likes him, whatever. And then she finds out that his family is opening up another coffee shop across the street that is like a chain coffee shop. And her niche, her thing is that she hates pumpkin spice lattes because of how fake they are and there's no actual pumpkin in them. Like, that's a little overdone, but the book is called Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. So like, I get it. But there's a little bit of a rivalry there, but I think it's definitely leaning towards the, like, they're going to be friends, and then probably, like, you know, it's a romance. I think we know where it's going to go. But he's, like, definitely golden retriever energy, and she's black cat energy. That is definitely there. It's just very, the thoughts and stuff are definitely, like, high school girl thoughts. So, as a 30, almost 5-year-old, it's difficult, but it's such a quick read that it's fine because it is very atmospheric. It does feel like a cozy, like, fall read, so I'm letting it go. But I knew within the first paragraph when like something was said, I was like, oh no, this is high school. But it's fine. Still enjoying it. It's probably going to be just like a 3-star read though. I'm also still reading Something Wicked by Fallon Ballard, and I went to put that into my Goodreads today and was like shocked at how low of a rating it has. Is it the best written book? No. Is it like essentially spice with a little bit of fantasy plot? Yes. But sometimes you like that. So for the vibes right now, I'm really enjoying it. Again, I don't see it really being like a very highly rated book, but I'm a vibes reader. There's a lot of contention on like Instagram and TikTok and even a little bit on YouTube about some of the like editing errors and like writing errors in books and like continuity errors. And quite honestly, I don't catch that stuff when I read. I am not someone that sits there and dissects a book in a series to be like, well, this happened in the last one and da da da. No, I'm here for vibes. It's just an escape for me. If I start getting that crazy about it, it's not going to be fun. So am I having a good time with Something Wicked? Yeah. The sexual tension is off the charts. Like, the plot, it's okay. It's an interesting concept, but it's definitely just like a spice book. And I kind of knew that going in, knowing the kind of writer that she is, that was probably what it's going to be. So I didn't have super high hopes for it, but I was like kind of laughing reading through some of the stuff. And it just made me think of the other discourse I'm seeing online right now. So that is my update. That was kind of a long-winded one, but it was a 3-book update. So I will come back probably tomorrow. I know I'll be done with this evening, but I'll just come back tomorrow and update because I'm hoping to finish Something Wicked as well by tomorrow because that'll be the only book I have to read at the gym and before and after and all that. So talk to you guys then. Okay, so final update. I finished Something Wicked by Fallon Ballard this morning, and you can definitely tell this is her first like foray into fantasy romance from romance. Because while the plot, there was a fantasy plot there, it was definitely like second to the relationship. It was very spicy. I think it was very insta-lovey. And a lot of their relationship, I think, was built off of physical attraction, which is fine. Like, I still enjoyed the book, but it wasn't a fantasy tier level book for me. It was definitely more like along the romance scale. So I gave this 3.5 stars. So I still did enjoy it. I'm actually curious to see, based on how the story went, this is the first in a series. I'm curious to see if it's going to follow the same couple every time. Because I have a feeling like it may not. And I think I would like that better with how she set it up. So we'll see. I may read the next one. I actually really did enjoy it. It's a book I would probably purchase for myself when it comes out. Just because I did think it was fun. It was an interesting fantasy world, but I definitely in my brain rank it more towards romance than actual like romance fantasy. So yeah, but 3.5 stars on that. I don't really think there's too much more to say without giving away more of the plot than what I said in the previous update about what it's Cal and Kat. I think I said Catherine, it's Catrin. There's no H. So there's really not too much more to say about that. Like, it has a lot to do with like the gifted powers, and pretty much it revolved around like Kat and her sister, and then like Cal had his own side story too, and they did eventually intertwine. But yeah, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. It went in a direction I wasn't really expecting. Like, There was supposed to be like, I think a gotcha moment at the end that I think I pieced together a little bit before the gotcha moment. So it wasn't like a super secret gotcha moment, but it still was, it changed the trajectory of the story. So still had a good time. Before that, I finished up Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice. I gave this 3 stars. It was definitely a YA. So complete opposite of Something Wicked in terms of spice. And it was, if she talked about making the perfect pumpkin spice latte one more time, I think I was gonna lose it. So it was definitely written more for like that age group, because she was just like hyper fixated on that and like super focused on that, and like made it such a big deal when it's like, it's not that big of a deal, it's just a freaking latte. But I get in that time frame, like when you're a sophomore in high school, things mean different things than when you're like an adult and you're like, that means nothing. And her mom was even like, sweetie, you need to calm down. He was great. The mailman character was really cute. She was kind of getting on my nerves, but still was like a cozy fall atmospheric read. 3 stars, nothing special. It was the $5 book at Barnes & Noble, so it is what it is at this point. So it also took me like just over 2 hours, I think, to read the whole book. Before that, I was Emotionally Devastated by Miss Holly Jackson. I gave this 4.25 stars. I have nothing else to say that I haven't already said about this book, but I was not expecting it. I was not expecting this book at all, so really enjoyed it. I finished The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. I gave this 4 stars. And also Us Against You by Frederick Bachman, another 5-star in the Beartown series. Love this series. It is, like I said earlier, the best and worst of humanity in one book. So there are a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of heaviness, but he writes so well. You just can't fault him, so 5 stars. So that's it for this vlog, these 4 books plus my arc of Something Wicked. This is the last like real reading vlog for the year. There will be a 24-hour reading vlog as part of Bookmas, and also like a wintry vlog. Anything that I read in December outside of that, there will be a few vlogs in January, and then I'll just make a video at some point talking about the books that don't make it into vlogs, because I'm changing the format of things. Coming the new year, I'm not going to be vlogging every single book that I read, just so that I can plan better and theme my vlogs better. So that is it for this. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, what you're reading right now, and I thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far, and hope to see you all in the next video.